Okay, so I think we can start it now. Sorry, I think we got slightly late because of some technical issues. Uh, so I don't know how many of you are there right now. I think two of you. I can see maybe two of you are there. Yeah, no more. It's adding on actually. Okay, so my name is Rajiv Chaba, and some of you probably may know my profile, but I'll just do a very short introduction. So I was, rather I am in auto industry since last 20 odd years. Uh, I was the first employee of General Motors India here. After doing my engineering and MBA, I joined the Eicher long time back on the tractor side, but worked only for 2 years, went to Dubai, was in Toyota franchise there for almost 2 years. Then came back to India and joined GM in India. I was the first employee in GM India in sales and marketing. Some of you probably may know I we launched Opel brand that point of time called Opel Astra. Some of your dads probably would have been driving Opel Astra. So we grew up the business from there and then launched Opel Corsa, and then I got transferred to Japan. And just one second. Then I was in charge for sales and marketing for Japan, for GM Japan. We were selling their Cadillac brand, Saab brand, Opel, Chevrolet. Then I came back to India. Then I became the managing director for GM India. So I didn't. So my background is sales and marketing, but then I became managing director for GM India, and we launched Optra that point of time, Chevrolet Optra, Chevrolet Aveo, Chevrolet Tavera, and then I got transferred to GM General Motors Egypt as managing director there. And my predecessor here, my successor here, sorry, Carl Slim, he launched Beat and other products in this country. I moved on to Egypt, as I said. Then we did some restructuring there, became charge for North Africa, went to China. So my last assignment was in China, in General Motors, and there I was heading sales and marketing operations for whole China. And China, as you probably know, is huge. It's the biggest market globally. And there, just to give an idea and perspective, what we are talking about, the size, Chinese market is 23, 24 million units per year, whereas Indian market is close to 2.5 to 2.7 million units per year. So it's almost 10 times. By the way, when I started my career, China and India were at the same level 20 years back, but now China is like 8 or 9 times more than India. Anyway, so GM is very powerful and big there in China, unlike India. India is still, I think GM is still is trying to make their foundation and still not that much successful as they are anywhere else globally. So in China, GM is selling close to 3 million plus vehicles every year. So I was taking care of the operations there. And interesting thing is, in social media, you do not have Facebook or Twitter in China, but you have Chinese equivalent of Facebook and Twitter. You have Baidu as search rather instead of Google. You have Baidu there. You have WeChat. You have Tencent, and you have other platforms. Alibaba is very powerful there. So you have different kind of medias, but the fundamentals are same. So I was doing that, but then 2 years back I left GM. I went into private equity and but I have been in touch with the auto industry and I'm on the board of few companies outside. So overall, that's my background. You get some idea. To let you know about the auto industry per se is huge globally. It adds a lot to the GDP of the countries. It adds a lot of manpower. It gives a lot of huge employment. Also, it has got huge linkages to the rest of the economy, both forward and backwards linkages. So that makes this industry kind of unique. And as probably you know, that this car being a very passionate product and high involvement product, people get linked to the news in a very different way than other product categories or other industrial goods, if you want to call it. So this auto industry, just to give an idea again, globally, there are almost 18 million vehicles per year sold, and still it's growing at 3 to 4% every year. though there are talks and there are trends now of Uber and Uber-like mobility companies, where people feel that that may reduce the usage of the car or the new car sales, but still that's not happening because maybe the infrastructure or the public transport system in most of the countries, especially in emerging economies, is not that great, and there is a huge demand, a latent demand for mobility, and that's why despite Uber kind of vehicles like in India, Ola, in US you have Lyft, in China you have Didi, despite all these kind of ride sharing platforms and vehicles, still see there's a demand of new cars. Coming back to India in particular, now in India, still the car, though from relative perspective, the car size, as I mentioned earlier, is around 2.7 million units per year, and it's still growing at a pace of 6 to 7% every year. Though probably could have done better, but because of infrastructure, because of other issues, still still the rate of growth is not in double digits, though there's a possibility and there's an opportunity that it can be in double digits. Though one may argue that um, seeing our infrastructure, seeing roads, seeing congestion, seeing pollution, seeing other environmental issues, what's the need? But anyway, that's a supply and demand issue, and I'll not get into that in this meeting because our topic is different. But I was just trying to make a foundation for our discussions to go forward. Uh, as I just mentioned the numbers, but just to give you an idea, it's a very, very important part of the economy of the nation. So auto industry in India is around 7%. It contributes approximately 7-8% to the GDP of the country, creates millions of jobs, and also there are a lot of related industries linked to the vehicle industry directly and indirectly. So it's very important part of the economy. Now coming to sales and marketing per se of the vehicles, till few years back, like any other like impact on any other industry, uh, excluding even auto, the social media was not existing that much. But every year it's becoming more and more powerful, as you youngsters and you college students probably know it better than me, that the importance of this is so huge that nobody can even think of having a marketing strategy without communication strategy or deployment strategy on these mediums. In fact, we started talking in our company as what is your initially a few years back, 2 years back, we started talking as what's your gift strategy? Gift as in GYFT. So G is your Google, Y is YouTube, F is Facebook, and T is Twitter. So when you are making your marketing strategy, which initially used to be simply what's the media plan, what's your media strategy? It's your strategy, and in terms of usage, it's media, which is newspaper and TV and billboards and some customer activation events and displays and maybe there is some kind of a integration with the film or TV serials and things like that. But we never used to talk about tell me your Google strategy. And Google strategy means it's a search strategy. So it's a Google search. Search optimization engines are there. So search optimization things. How are you doing it? How do you make sure that the content is good enough to make sure that you come up on top or one of the top three when anybody is searching anything related to cars on Google. So that's how we started saying 2-3 years back, tell us about your gift strategy, which is Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Like what are you intending to do? But as you know, that more and more social sites keep coming up and social platforms keep evolving and people discuss and say that hey, it will go down probably, and then Facebook 2 years back, I remember distinctly people said, hey, what's the business model of Facebook and what will happen to Facebook? But right now, Facebook is 1.6 billion users, active users globally. It's a huge medium. Nobody can think of excluding this medium from their communication strategy or the whole brand strategy. So it has become so powerful. So likewise, the new mediums keep coming up. Instagram has become very, very important, and then LinkedIn even is getting used for various things. So so I think GIFT needs to be expanded. So I think this is like many things right now on technology side. This thing also is evolving, and people are learning. Nobody can say we know or I know how to really use social media to the best advantage, because on both sides, consumer side as well as giver and users, consumers and companies, I think the learning process is going on, the evolution is going on, and everybody is learning how to really get engaged with the media. So I want to focus more on the Facebook side at this point of time, because the Facebook is the most powerful, one of the most powerful mediums in social, and and there are lots of examples of various brands internationally as well as in India where people have started using it to the benefit of their brand building and brand recognition. I think broadly, if you want to categorize the industries who are using Facebook very well, there are some set of brands which are using Facebook much better than the others. I would like to believe and say that auto industry is one where they have used, where they have learned how to use Facebook to the best of their advantage. Though, probably as I mentioned, the nature of the product category also is very, very engaging, because people have a lot of passion around this product, and also people have a huge uh, uh, not only engagement but also from involvement and engagement within the product category. That's huge, and also it's one of the costliest purchases in consumers life. Apart from the house, they say car is the second most costliest item which people buy or possess. So that's why I think it becomes very, very important. Uh, Again, in this category, Facebook medium can be used not only for brand recognition but also for brand loyalty, and also a lot of ongoing engagement activities, which basically again increases either the referrals or purchase of the cars or the loyalty itself, and also people become advocates or influencers. So you can create a lot of categories of consumers here, and you can track them, that how they are interacting with your brand, and how do you what corrective things you need to keep doing to make sure that you have a very positive imagery coming out of this whole exercise. If you look at the categories of consumers, then you will realize that it's not only important to just do a carpet bombing kind of communication, uh, which is available to each and everyone, every user. I think we need to be smart here, that how do we channelize our efforts, whatever may be the budget, how do we channelize to the right category of consumers whom we want. So that's where there are lots of tools which are also important to make use of, to ensure that that our money spent in communication is going to be at the right place. So there are Google Analytics, now there are social analytics, a lot of tools which people are using. And again, there's a lot of, in the analytics itself, there is a evolution going on in terms of how do you make sure that there is a clear ROI. On one hand, I say that car industry probably is good at using Facebook, but on the other hand, obviously there are various challenges. Some people who are not comfortable using this medium, or they don't know how to really use this medium for the ad effectiveness or for increasing the loyalty. And they don't know how to really best use it, or if they are traditional conservative marketeers, and who are not comfortable knowing or learning this new language, they still are stuck onto the views, clicks, and maybe the web traffic as initial indicators of the success or measurement of their communication effectiveness. But those are just basics to start with. I think you need to get a graduate into some more tools which are very crucial to really make sure that how your consumers are treating you, how they are responding to your various stimuli, whether they are talking positive or negative, or are they possibly going to be converts into your brand, into your buying cars, um, or are they referring to your brands? So there are various tools which have to be used to make sure that people understand that as a marketer, you know that ROI of your spend is good. I just mentioned Google Analytics is very important. Social analytics is a new thing which is getting into now. That social media analytics. There are lots of buzz indexes now, which I think you need to know. It's not only for your brand but also a competitive brand that house the buzz index. In fact, not only the brand but also for the new product launches, you can use this to your effectiveness. And just to give you a small example, when I was in China and we were launching a new product there called Chevrolet Malibu. Malibu is not there in India, but it's a medium size sedan, bigger than Corolla and those kind of vehicles, Honda Civic, those kind of vehicles. It's like Accord size and Camry size. There's a Chevy Malibu, which is very successful in the US. So when we were launching that vehicle in China, so we used to go to a website called AutoNation.com, and AutoNation is like a portal like Car Dekho here or Carwale here. So in AutoNation, there used to be a buzz index or the stars, and you could see that how you are building the whole thing, how you are building the story, you are building the noise, positive noise, I would say, to make sure that so you could see that your spend, your the noise generation, noise creation, or the buzz, is it in line with your media spend or not? And also you could see that how is the noise level or the buzz of your competitive brands. And if it is not close to that, though you're launching, it means you need to spend more money or you need to spend that money wisely. So those kind of things which you can do. One important thing which I did not mention so far is that consumer engagement. Obviously in Facebook you can do the things in a very different way. You can, but the most important thing for any brand or any product, not only in auto industry but also other industries, is how do you tell your story to the consumer? I think that's very important. That telling a story and that story engages the customer. And it's like a TV serial, as an example, if I can say that there are various episodes. So how do you move from one episode to another episode while keeping the consumer engaged? And also not only engagement on the one-way basis. Like in this call, I'm just talking to you right now, but the effectiveness would be when you start talking back to me through Q&A. And that's why I don't want to spend too much time just one way message. So after some time, maybe I'll stop and encourage you guys to ask some questions. But just to make my point again, what I was saying about engagement, it has to be a two-way thing. So you show an episode, you talk to the consumers talk back to you, they give you some feedback, positive, negative, improvements, areas, and things like that, and you keep building on that. So that not only you're creating content from the consumer side, but also you're engaging them in a positive way. So there may be some negative thing too here, that some consumers most probably will not be very happy the way you are engaging them, or they may not like certain aspects of your communication or your product, and they may talk negative. But that's it. I think you need to be candid and you need to be constructively engaged, and even if it is negative, you can turn into a good. You can accept that. You can say that yes, certain areas probably are not as per liking of certain consumers, and then you can build on that, keep learning. So here engagement and loyalty becomes very important, and everybody knows this theoretically, but how do you really do it and execute it to the perfection? I think is an issue. There are a lot of car brands which have done it pretty well. In fact, within GM, Chevy launched Chevrolet Trax in US 2 years back, and there, you give the car to they gave the car to some influencers and said that, okay, why don't you go to various terrains, various areas, offsite locations, and then post your experience. So these influencers were talking good about the vehicle, and they were going on a particular geography and posted their stories, and that engaged lots of consumers. So that's one simple but a good way of doing the things. Likewise, there are lots of followers a lot of followers for various brands, and and different brands evoke different kind of emotions. So, so again, there are various ways of doing it, but the most important point is, I think you cannot neglect as a marketeer these new mediums, and also the message which I'm trying to give here is that you not only have to do it for brand recognition, but also for brand loyalty. You need to do the storytelling, and you need to keep through analytics tool. You have to keep seeing how your consumers are responding to the various stimuli which you are providing to them. So these are some of the thoughts on top of my mind right now. I thought uh, I'll just say a few things, and then maybe we can go ahead with some questions. So if you guys have some questions, I would love to answer them, and maybe we can have more areas of discussions depending on our questions. So I'll just take a pause here, and we'll leave it to you guys for any questions if you have. Okay, so at least on my screen, I cannot see any questions popping up so far. Um, So here, this is the issue because if there is no interaction, I really do not know. So what exact thing you guys are looking at right now, and anything in particular you want to know? You want to know some more examples because I can keep talking about lots of issues in the car industry on, regarding this medium, and also examples I can give. But I would like to know the interest of people. What do you want to hear and what do you want to know more? So I would suggest if there are any questions, maybe we can ask that. And I'm still trying to ask some guys on phone maybe. So let me just try on phone how did it go. Okay, so so yeah, actually there is a problem on my screen and I can't see the question. So the coordinator has just given me a question, and
You're not audible on the screen. I think you did not unmute it.
no, I have done that.
I cannot. आप audible नहीं है.
One second. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I think. Yeah, sorry, there is some issue on the audio. I hope you can hear me right now. Let me just ask. So yeah, Pragya, can you hear me on the screen? Hello. So I think there is some technical issues here, but I hope you can hear me because there is no unmute thing now. So as I got to know, the question was about GM here in India, that are they losing money? So frankly, no, I have not been with GM India for many years now, and I have left GM 2 years back. So frankly, I'm not the right person to answer this question. And I don't know exactly what's their profitability. So I am not the right person to answer that question, and I don't know the answer myself. So maybe that's what I'll pass on that. If you have anything on the social media marketing side, let me know. But about the profitability, I may not be able to answer the question. Now the thing is, I'm just trying to find out where's the second question. And this Q&A thing tells me on my screen that it's not. Okay, disabled. 1 second. Okay, so I need to know this the next question, and maybe I have to again depend on um, the coordinator here to let me know the question. Okay, it's hanging a little bit. Okay, I got the second question also. Somebody has asked this question about the safety of the vehicles, that why people are not focusing more on the safety of the vehicles. Is this not the priority? So I'm sure the person who has asked this question has read this report that there were some safety tests which got done by a lab in UK, and few models failed in the country. So maybe that's the basis of this question, or maybe in general people are asking. Let me say that like any other category of things in vehicle, whether you call it comfort, convenience, telematics, safety, uh, I think things are evolving, and the industry, from my perspective, I think is quite focused in India on providing very safe cars, and there's a lot of cost attached to various safety items, but I think that's happening. I can tell you that 10, 15 years back, safety belt, there are a lot of safety features and passive safety features. I'll not get into the details of those car specific issues, considering the topic here today. But just to tell you that few years back, like I said, 10, 15 years back, only in the active safety thing, car belt, the seat belt used to be the most important thing, and that also people were not using it. Even the driver safety belt, people were not using it. Forget about the rear passenger. But that slowly started changing, and then the airbags came, and then the ABS came, and a lot of other safety features which are becoming standard now. It started coming in the luxury products initially because the cost of these features is high, and then it started coming down, and even the basic models, entry-level models also, you have started seeing these features. Even now, a small hatchbacks, cars starting at 3 lakhs of rupees also has got two airbags in most of the cars as standard, though you can go for more if you pay more. So I would say that there are lots of features which are getting added. People are evolving, and also in terms of regulation. See, earlier the regulations also were not very clear, and regulations also are getting evolved. So government is putting a lot of attention and focus, rightly so, in this most important part of the car issue. So regulations are evolving, and OEMs also are giving more focus on this, as well as customer requirements are evolving, because customer, as I mentioned a few years back, even was not bothered about putting the safety belt. So all these three things are pushing each other to make sure that the Indian cars also are at par with international standards as we go forward, and consumer safety remains a very important point. Ultimately, by the way, it's the issue of consumer. If consumer is bothered about the safety, and rightly so, they need to be, then they will accept or reject the vehicles based on the safety features of that car. So it's not only on consumer. I understand that industry also has to be matured enough, and also take cognizance of the fact that it is their responsibility to provide safe cars, because ultimately consumer may not be that much knowledgeable and technically expert to ensure or to assess or gauge about the safety of the vehicle. So I think consumer has a choice of accepting or rejecting the vehicles based on the knowledge they have. Consumer magazines and influencers and the people who know also keep creating awareness on these things to tell public what is important and what's not important from safety perspective, or which car brands are relevant or not relevant from that particular perspective. And OEMs, I think no OEM, to my knowledge, is going to ignore on this issue, and everybody is focusing on it. But again, it gets evolved as anything else, like telematics we talked about, and the entertainment we talked about. Now, Google Play and Android Play are getting into the things. There are connected cars. As we go forward, when people talk about autonomous driving and then driverless cars, other aspects of safety come into picture. So I think everything is evolving, and I can just say that no car manufacturer, or no OEM as we call it, can think of ignoring this particular aspect. Let me see the questions. Just one second. So I'm just seeing on my phone the questions, because on my screen there is some issue and I'm not able to see the questions. So So I'm getting the questions on my phone. So that's why please don't mind if I keep looking at my phone from time to time. So yeah, so I got another question here saying that why do Lamborghini and BMW never get into any kind of marketing? Are you getting the question? Yeah. So in fact, I do not agree that BMW and Lamborghini don't do marketing. Especially BMW is though it's a luxury brand, but also it's a mainstream luxury, if I can say. Lamborghini is not really mainstream luxury. It's really the handpicked customers and the handmade cars, and the volumes are very, very low. So Lamborghini is slightly different in different category than BMW. But let me talk about BMW in a second, and then we come back to Lamborghini. So in BMW, it's a volume luxury brand, and they spend a lot of money on the traditional marketing tools as well as on the social media thing. In fact, you may or may not know, or would be surprised that BMW has got 19 million followers on Facebook, and they are not only engaged one way and listening to the news provided by other contents provided by the company, but they're also quite active and giving their feedback on a regular basis. So BMW has got the maximum followers, and BMW, if you see newspaper ads, other print ads in a conservative media vehicle, they are all over. In India, BMW ads you can see both from the brand perspective as well as from tactical ad perspective. So they have brand ads as well as tactical ads coming in the newspaper. Yes, TV ad in India probably they have not shown that much. I don't recall any new TV ad from BMW, but globally, depending on the size of the market, they decide their marketing strategy, and they try to make it relevant depending on the volumes and the turnover they expect from that market. As an example, if you take US or you take Europe or you take China, these are very big markets. They have huge budgets, and they do it. They are there in all kinds of media. In India, tactical budget, I think, is used. You can see you keep seeing all kinds of ads on their various launches and schemes offered from time to time. And social media, they are quite active, and YouTube, they are quite active. So you see them. Now, Lamborghini is a different kind of a ball game in which it's a very niche luxury within luxury, which is a small segment relatively, because you have mainstream brands like Chevy, Ford, GM. I'm talking global now. So it's a Hyundai, Honda, Toyota, GM, Ford, Nissan, Honda. These are the traditional brands, mass brands where the volume is too much. VW come into this category. And then there are luxury, and within that there are a lot of subsegments. So I will not bore you into various kind of subsegments and the categories of vehicles you have, from SUVs to sedans to hatchbacks to crossovers. But within that Lamborghini, when we are talking about, it's really a very niche luxury. And now there they have created a story. Now Lamborghini, for that matter, Bentley or Rolls-Royce, they have all created. They have got history. They have got vintage stories, and they have got other stories how these brands have been built over last so many years and decades. So people buy into those stories, and the people who are buying these kind of cars are not ordinary customers, because these are, as you know, we are talking about crores of rupees in India for that kind of a vehicle, or even in outside markets in terms of dollars. This is really the top notch. So from that perspective, they don't have to create awareness. The customer who's going to buy a Lamborghini is not the first time buyer or second time buyer or third time buyer. I mean, those guys have purchased many cars, or in their or generations of that particular family, generations are buying cars, and also they know exactly like what luxury brands stand for, and also you don't need to do any mass marketing. But yes, in terms of one-to-one direct marketing, in terms of one-to-one engagement, now Lamborghini goes into a deep involved interaction with these consumers, which normal public people like you and me probably will not come to know about it. But they definitely have their own engagement services and marketing styles, which is like more direct marketing and more customized marketing they indulge into. So that's why probably we don't come to know about it, but they're into very advanced stages of communication, identification of customers, and maintaining loyalty with those customers in a very different way. Okay, so let me just check another question. How do companies answer the negative feedback on social media as there are many more unhappy customers and happy customers? I think this is a good question, and this is the challenge of the social media these days. The question is that how do people react, or how do companies react to the negative feedback because there are many unhappy customers? And I think this is the beauty of this medium. And as marketeers, you need to know that. There are a lot of customers out there who are not happy either with the product features, product pricing, or their dealers' feedback, or dealer services, or even from the product. It can be, especially in the car category, it can be your car buying experience is not good, or your warranty is not good, or the dealer is not able to service the customer well. Anything can happen. So here, social media is a very powerful tool, and every brand is required and must, and probably they do it now, that you have to keep monitoring the buzz and the news on all the possible social media channels. So there are various people whose job is to monitor this thing, and the moment you get a negative feedback, people have to give a response to their customers. I think there are good brands, and they're not so. Or rather, let me say it, there are brands which engage and which respond to consumers in a very positive way, and it tries to convert this negative experience into a very positive experience. And that creates an opportunity for some companies that the moment you get a negative feedback, at least to turn this customer into a positive customer by giving him or her a very good response, very good treatment, and try to convert him into a satisfied customer. So that's one category of brands or companies. Other category maybe do not engage, or do not come back to the customers, or they ignore. But the second category of brands are those brands which frankly will not grow that much, because nobody can ignore these kind of comments, and there is a viral impact of these comments. And these days the problem is, or the issue is, I shouldn't say problem, the issue is that everything happens in real time. The response time has to be very fast, and people should be able to control the feedback. See, once the brands have decided that you need to be on this medium, or even if you're not on this medium, you can't stop people talking about their experiences, either in a positive or negative way, either way, on various social media. So it's not that companies want to respond to the social medium or they don't want. Consumers will say whatever they have to say based on their experience. So I think this has to be part of an active strategy on companies to monitor and respond to the feedback what they're getting. So like I was initially saying, some of you probably may have joined later, so I don't know. Like I was saying, till 2-3 years back, we used to say, what's your gift strategy? GYFT, Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter strategy. Now you can change that and add more and more mediums like Instagram and LinkedIn and some other channels depending on the country you reside in. But what does it mean here is that you need to have your strategy to be present in these channels. And even if you're not present, you are monitoring it. And like I mentioned, some tools, based on those tools, you can monitor and respond. So consumers have to, the companies have to respond to these comments. Another question I'm looking at now: does the automobile industry also give enough relevance to the social media? I think probably I answered it. I think the fourth question, the last question, and this question more or less same connotation here. That suppose I'm a brand which is not that much proactive, and I don't want to be present very actively in social media. But it's not my choice now. I think this whole internet, the digital economy, and this whole social media has empowered consumers in a way to say and talk, engage, communicate the way they want to. And this world is not totally, I mean, it has democratized the communication, in my opinion, in which people can say whatever they want to say, in whatever medium they want to say. So I think it becomes important for the brands to have have infrastructure or have resources which are focused on monitoring the chat, monitoring the conversation, what's going on. If it's positive, it's a good news, and probably then the objective for the company becomes how to convert this positive conversation into more engagement, more loyalty, more sales, and things like that to their benefit. If it's negative, there's an opportunity to convert this negative into a positive by again talking to these consumers, setting right the perception if it's wrong, or if somebody is really unhappy with the services of a dealer or service provider, then I think give the feedback to those service providers and dealers, and making sure that this customer gets converted into a positive consumer. So I think auto industry is not a different industry like FMCG goods, like auto industries, other industry category goods. Automobile also is an industry where because customer engagement is very high, and nobody can people any company can only ignore at the cost, at the peril of their own damage, because I think there is some issue here, there is some problem. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, okay. So nobody can ignore this medium, and auto industry is no exception. So I hope I answered the question. Let me see if there's any other question. No, I am not getting any other question, and so good. I think I'll just wait for a few more minutes to see if there is any other question, and then I'll pass. So something is coming through right now, so I assume there is no more question. So I know that some of you probably may not be able to see it live very clearly, or the voice probably may not have been very good, because this technology is great. Unfortunately, the connections and connectivity, the speed of connection also is an issue at some places. So hope you are able to make the most of it. This is a great forum, I would say, and most of you who are students in MBA, I think through this channel you can come across the guys from different industries and can exchange the views. Your generation, you guys know the importance of this medium much more than the traditional marketeers of my age, if I can say. So you will be forcing the marketeers to make sure that they listen to you, they use your language, they use your medium, and make the communications more relevant. Because I know from my personal experience of my son and daughter that don't read that much newspaper, and all the content consumption is done through the phones and mobile phones, or through laptops. So all the content creation is that way, and the kind of engagement you do in various mediums. Smart marketers have to make sure that they engage you in a very non-intrusive way, but same of time do it in a relevant way, which you guys like. And again, all of you are different, and they come in different categories. So there is no one solution. There is no one cookie cutter approach which is applicable to all the consumers or all the youngsters in the same way. So there has to be a very different, customized way of communications, depending on the age category, depending on the demographics and psychographics, which I think need to be done. So wish you all the best, and hopefully we will talk again as we go forward. So thank you very much.